Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping headfirst into a really interesting comparison inside the Canon ecosystem. We're putting the Canon R7 up against the Canon R8. And our mission here is, I think, pretty critical. It's not about just reading a spec sheet. It's about figuring out which of these cameras fits your actual real-world workflow.
It's a fascinating matchup, you know. They came out only 9 months apart, the R7 in May 2022, and then the R8 in February 2023. They share the same lens mount, the RF mount, but they represent two totally different philosophies.
Okay, so what are those philosophies?
Well, one is all about maximizing the quality you get from the sensor itself. The other is about maximizing utility, the features, the whole package. We really have to look past the price.
Right, so let's start at the very foundation of the camera, the sensor. This is where the whole debate really begins.
This is the core trade-off.
So the R8, people see that price, and they see full frame, and it almost doesn't compute.
Exactly. The R8 is what I call the full-frame minimalist. You get a 24-megapixel full-frame sensor that's 36 by 24 millimeters, and the whole idea is simple. Get that amazing image quality for the absolute least amount of money.
Okay, so let's go a little deeper than just megapixels. Let's talk physics. How much light can those individual pixels actually gather?
And that is the absolute key distinction. The pixels, or the photosites, on the R8's full-frame sensor are huge compared to the R7. I mean, we're talking about a pixel area of 36 square micrometers.
Okay.
Which is, get this, 253% larger than the R7's. So what does that mean for you?
Less noise in the dark.
Way less noise. Superior low-light performance. If you're shooting a wedding reception, a concert, anything dimly lit, you can push that ISO way up to its native 102,400, and you're going to get a beautiful, clean file.
Okay, so that's the R8's big card. Now the R7, it's on a smaller APS-C sensor, but it is jam-packed. This is the resolution specialist.
It really is. You're cramming 33 megapixels onto that smaller area.
Which is 37% more pixels than the R8.
Right, and that gives you incredible flexibility later in post-production. But really, it's about one thing, reach. For some photographers, this is absolutely non-negotiable.
But wait a second. If you're packing that many pixels onto a smaller chip, doesn't that just create a lot of noise? Doesn't that high density kind of cancel out the advantage you get from the reach when you go to crop in?
That's a great question, and it's a common concern. But Canon's done a really good job mitigating it. Look, it's not going to beat the R8 in low light, it just won't. But the R7's real advantage is that built-in 1.6x crop factor.
Okay, so give me a practical example.
Take a lens like the 100-400 millimeter, pretty standard telephoto. On the R7, that lens instantly becomes a 160 to 640 millimeter equivalent.
That's a massive difference.
It's a free telephoto extension. If you shoot wildlife, you're saving thousands on a giant super telephoto lens. And with 33 megapixels, you can still crop in on, an eagle's eye without the image just falling apart. It's built for daylight.
That really clarifies the first big choice. But let's move on to, I think, the most debated feature between these two, image stabilization.
Ah, yes.
The R7 comes out swinging here. It has 7-stop sensor shift in-body image stabilization. This is a total game changer for how you shoot.
It's a revolution. It really is. And that 7-stop system works with any lens you put on it. Doesn't matter if the lens has stabilization or not. That old rule, the one about your shutter speed needing to be 1 over your focal length?
Yeah, of course.
It's dead. It's obsolete with this camera.
So what can I actually do with 7 stops of stabilization?
Yeah.
If I'm holding a big lens?
Okay, so imagine you're shooting a landscape with the 200 millimeter lens. The old rule says you need a shutter speed of at least 1/1200th of a second.
Probably faster to be safe.
Probably faster, right? With 7 stops, you could theoretically get a sharp shot at half a second. Handheld.
Half a second. That's insane.
It means you can leave the tripod at home for landscape shots. It means sharper photos with a long lens when you're in an awkward position. It means smooth, handheld video without a gimbal.
And then we have the R8. No IBIS. Just
right.
Gone. Was this just about hitting that price point?
100%. It was a calculated compromise to make full frame affordable. But the implication for you, the shooter, is huge. The R8 forces you to use faster shutter speeds, which means higher ISO and more noise, or you have to rely on lens-based stabilization.
And not all lenses have that.
Not at all. Only 37 of Canon's 91 RF lenses have IS built in. So you're either buying premium, stabilized glass, or you better have perfect, steady technique.
This feeds right into another huge operational difference: power and storage. The R7 seems built for a long day. 660 shots on the CP rating. That's real all-day shooting.
It is. The R8, on the other hand, is, well, it's frankly inadequate for any kind of professional work. It's rated for only 290 shots.
Wow.
We've seen wedding photographers say they need 4, maybe 5 batteries just to get through a normal day. You're swapping batteries in the middle of a ceremony.
And if you're traveling, you're just constantly looking for an outlet to charge. That sounds like a creative buzzkill.
Yeah, it's constant battery anxiety. And then there's the storage.
The R7 have dual UHS-2 SD card slots, the professional standard.
Professional grade redundancy. You can write to both cards at the same time. If one card fails, you don't lose the photos.
Which, for paid work, for a wedding.
It's non-negotiable. It's an absolute must-have. That single card slot in the R8 is the biggest tell for who Canon built this camera for.
An enthusiast.
An enthusiast, yes. A workhorse? No. If that one card corrupts at the key moment, everything is gone. The R7 is insurance, the R8 is a gamble. So let's dig into some of the more nuanced performance areas because they map directly onto different styles of photography.
Okay, speed. The R8 has amazing autofocus, right? Over 1,000 AF points, 40 frames a second with the electronic shutter. And because of that big sensor, it focuses better in the dark.
It does. But the R7 has a really critical mechanical advantage.
That is it.
A faster maximum mechanical shutter speed. The R7 can do 18,000th of a second. The R8 tops out at 14,000th.
Why does that matter in the real world?
It matters in bright light. Think about shooting sports on a sunny day, maybe on a beach or in the snow. You need that speed to control the ambient light, especially if you want to shoot with a wide open aperture for a blurry background. The R7 also has a much better mechanical burst rate. 15 frames per second versus the R8's kind of slow, 6 frames per second.
Okay, let's switch to video. Both seem pretty capable here. 4K, no recording limits. But the R8 has a few pro-level tricks up its sleeve.
It does. The R8 has lens breathing correction, which is a feature you see on cinema cameras. It makes your focus pulls look much smoother. It can also shoot at 180 frames per second for some really dramatic slow motion.
And the R7.
The R7 maxes out at 120 frames per second, so a point to the R8 there.
But if you're shooting documentary style, run and gun, that 7-stop IBIS in the R7, plus the battery life and the dual card slots, that seems like a huge functional win.
That's the trade-off. You're trading a higher frame rate on the R8 for pure operational security on the R7. So let's try to put this into context. Let's match these features to you, the listener.
Okay, so if I shoot wildlife and nature,
It's the R7. It's not even a debate.
the reach, the IBIS for shooting handheld out in the field, and that big battery, it's purpose-built for it.
Exactly. Now, what about travel photography?
Here, I think the R8 has an edge. It's lighter, right? By about 150 grams. It's more compact, easier to carry all day.
It is. But that's where the big caveat comes in.
The battery life.
The battery life. Are you okay with having to charge it every single day, maybe even multiple times a day, especially if you're hiking or somewhere remote?
That's a tough sell. What about street photography?
Our sources actually scored this, and they came down heavily in favor of the R7. It scored a 90% suitability rating versus 74% for the R8.
And that gap is because of...
IBIS for sharp handheld shots, battery life for being out all day, and that cropping flexibility from the 33 MP sensor for those quick, spontaneous moments.
Okay, last one. The big one. Weddings and events.
This is the toughest one. The R8 gives you better low light quality and that beautiful full frame depth of field. But the R7's dual card slots and battery life offer the operational reliability that you absolutely must have when you're getting paid.
Let's talk money then. The total cost of ownership. Because the sticker price is really misleading here.
It's a financial trap.
The R8 is cheaper up front. $1,099 versus the R7 at $1,499. That's a $400 difference.
And that saving vanishes instantly. To make the R8 usable, you have to immediately budget another $200 or $300 for extra batteries. And then you're buying full-frame lenses, which are almost always bigger and more expensive. Your real buy-in cost is closer to $1,500, maybe $1,800.
So the R7's higher price basically includes things you'd have to buy anyway. You're getting the IBS and the second card slot built in. Plus, you can use cheaper APS-C lenses.
It completely changes the investment perspective. The R8 is really a gateway camera.
What do you mean by that?
You buy it, you accept its limitations because you're investing in those nice full-frame RS lenses that you'll eventually move to a bigger, better body like an R5 or an R1.
Whereas the R7 is more of a destination camera.
Exactly. With its full feature set, the IBS, dual slots, great battery, you're much less likely to feel the need to upgrade quickly. It's ready for pro work right out of the box. And, when you look at the overall scores from our sources, it confirms this whole debate. The R7 scored 73 overall, the R8 scored 72.
They're basically identical in value.
Functionally identical. It proves that neither is just better. The R8 is all about the sensor. The R7 is all about the complete, reliable package.
Okay, so that brings us to the final decision for you listening. Choose the Canon R8 if getting that ultimate full-frame image quality, especially in low light, is your #1 priority and you're willing to work around the battery and stability issues.
And on the other hand, you should choose the R7 if that operational reliability, the IBS, the dual cards, the all-day battery is what's essential for you, especially for sports, for wildlife, or any paid work where you just can't afford to miss a shot.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. The wrong choice here isn't picking the R7 or the R8. The real mistake is choosing a camera based on specs you aspire to use, without being honest about how you actually shoot day to day.
The savings on the R8 might cost you a once-in-a-lifetime shot because your battery died. The resolution of the R7 might be total overkill if all you do is shoot landscapes on a tripod.
So really focus on your workflow, how you actually shoot.
Match the tool to your real-world job.
And that's our deep dive into the Canon R7 and R8. We hope this helps you make an investment that really takes your photography to the next level. Thanks for diving deep with us.